One of my subscribers said that her brother wanted to come to the United States and marry an American girl. So I decided to make a series of videos to let him and other men who are thinking of doing the same thing know what they need to consider regarding American women. In the United States, there is a category of men we call Pookies and Ray-Rays. And every country has a version of these types of men. Pookies and Ray-Rays are men who are irresponsible, unreliable, and lack real ambition. Or they have ambition but do not want to do any real work to achieve their goals. They often try to trick others into doing their work for them. They are usually drug dealers, scammers, live off their woman's government check, and have multiple children by many different women. However, I do know a few that did go to college, but none that graduated. Plus, I do know one that did own his own business, but lost it all because of some dumb shit he did. He was only able to get his business started because he got a lot of help, and then tried to scam the person who helped him. They always think they are smarter than everyone, but are really dumb as hell and stupid as shit. A good man has a 9-to-5 job. This means he starts work at 9 in the morning, like everyone else, and leaves work at 5 in the evening. He works a respectable and reliable job. I saw a documentary about street drug dealers, and they earn the same amount of money as someone working at McDonald's, or at a fast food restaurant. And street scammers earn about the same. And this is why women get sick of these types of men. These women realize, after years and 3 babies, that these men have no real money. These men look good and talk a good game, but never can afford to buy them anything real. Then these women realize that these men never had any money and will never have any money. This is why these women now have to find a good man with a good job to help take care of her and her babies. What these video clips do not say but is important. When these women get sick of Pookies and Ray-Rays, and come looking for a good man. If the good man graduated from college and has a good job, in the back of her mind, Pookies and Ray-Rays is still better than you. When you talk about Pookies and Ray-Rays, she will either be silent and not say anything, or make excuses for such men. These types of women will never be any good, and you need to leave them alone. They will always be problems, and their issues will keep you from achieving the goals you have for the family. You will never figure them out, so stop trying. Just leave them alone. Run.
I would say 2 to 5% of women nowadays in 2022 are marriage material. 2 to 5%, and I would say I'm aiming high with that.
What percentage of modern women are marriage material?
Let me be honest. It's not very many. You know why? Women are in tune to their body. They're not in tune with running a household. They're in tune to social media. They're not in tune with the needs of their significant other or their kids. I'm just gonna be honest. The women really is like it's all about me.
I like drug dealers. I like scammers. A 9-to-5. I don't even work a 9-to-5.
I want to see what's your type.
I like drug dealers.
She like drug dealers and scammers, y'all.
They gotta have money.
A bad guy or a perkhead drug dealer with money.
Perkhead. A perkhead drug dealer with money.
Perk drug dealer with money.
The perkhead with the money. A drug dealer.
I like drug dealers.
We got to talk about why it is that y'all will not stop having babies with Pookies and then looking for your husband later. Krishan Rock made a post saying that the next dude she deal with is going to be her husband. Why was that not the first dude you was looking for? Why would you have a baby by a Pookie like Blueface and then talking about you, Gary, go find your husband now? What is wrong? Like, they have to do some kind of study on a lot of y'all, because it's just no way that you could be this backwards. It's just no way that you out here picking so poorly and then trying to come back after picking poorly and making a permanent decision with a Pookie and then talking about you trying to find a husband. But that's a lot of y'all. It's a lot of y'all, right? And the dudes are obvious Pookies. These ain't dudes who maybe you didn't know he was. No, you obviously knew he was. These be dudes who pants be sagging, tattoos all over their face, can barely speak English, and you want us to believe that at some point you thought that they was going to be a good man or a good father to somebody. No, they never was. He hang on the block all day. He was never gonna be no good husband or a good father to no child. And now you somewhere want somebody to come behind this loser and take care of you and his baby. The fact that y'all are so comfortable having babies by bums and then talking about all of these requirements that you now all of a sudden have that you didn't have when you should have had them, right? Before you gave birth to some loser's baby is when you should have had the highest requirements that you have. But you waited until you're less of a catch to have these high standards. If a man had to choose a woman with no kids or a woman with kids, he gonna go with the woman with no kids if they look exactly the same, right? But this whole getting pregnant by random Pookie loser men and then talking about now you ready to up your standards and look for a husband, be for real. You done seen this story time and time again. You done watched it happen sometimes with your mama, your grandma, your friend, your cousin, your sister's cousin's friend. It continuously, you see it happening over and over again, and somehow it just ain't ringing a bell to you that you probably shouldn't just be out here having babies by these men so easily when so many women have gotten finessed in the process. How many women do you have to watch get finessed into having babies by the wrong man before you realize you should probably take better precautions than those women did? Y'all say that y'all don't want people talking about it. You feel like it's shaming. You feel like it's judgmental. Oh, well, if y'all lived lives that you were proud of and wasn't ashamed of, you wouldn't be so upset and triggered when you heard people bring up things that you was guilty of, right? Because that's what happens. I cannot make you feel ashamed of something you're not ashamed of. But if you already feel some kind of way about the life decisions you've made and you hear me say it, then yeah, it can trigger you. It can pull on your insecurities when you already have internal issues that you fighting and battling with. And when I say something about it, it just ignites it for you. Yeah, that's a real thing. That's not my problem. That's a personal problem. I know it's got to be crazy when God looked down on us and he see how much y'all can't take accountability when he gave you free will. He gave you the ability to make decisions with your life, however you wanted it to go, whatever you wanted to do. He gave you that option to be able to do that. And with that free will, you decided to make choices and decisions. And then when it's time to stand in them, try to put it off on somebody else. He lied to me. He deceived me. He fooled me. He tricked. How many times are y'all gonna get tricked and fooled? Y'all don't even think that we see the men that y'all out here having babies by. It be men like this that y'all want us to believe that you got deceived by. Nothing about this man said father figure, role model, husband, good man. Nothing about him said any of that. But you want us to believe that you got deceived and tricked. You want us to believe this loser Pookie deceived and tricked you? Oh no, we can look right at him and know he wasn't hitting on nothing. Right? We can look right at him and know it. And you did too. But you was having the time of your life laying up having unprotected sex with him. And you was having a ball until it wasn't fun no more. Until you realized what he was really what he was and it wasn't going to change. We got to get on the internet and hear you complaining about how all men are this and that and how you need all of these requirements met. But you didn't need all those requirements met when you was dealing with him. Why you didn't need all them requirements met when you was dealing with him? Let me give y'all a harsh truth. A lot of y'all wouldn't even have no kids if you could only get pregnant if the man that you wanted would marry you. Let me break it down slow for some of y'all. If the only way you could get pregnant was that the man that you wanted, the man you actually want, would have to marry you first, a lot of y'all would not be mothers. You know why? Because a lot of the men that y'all dealt with didn't want you in that way. They only wanted to have sex with you and you just so happened to get pregnant, and because it was your body, your choice, you got to keep it. But you don't get to dictate marriage. You can dictate keeping that baby, but you can't dictate getting the man that you actually want to marry you. You cannot force him to do that. Either he want to or he don't. And most of the time they don't. And they finesse you into not wanting it too because you know you'll never get it out of them.